have come since the beginning of July, mostly from Moscow and Leningrad. So with this tour, this will make 1,000 students and professors. So this is Tour 7, and it's co-sponsored by the Russian Ministry of Higher Education.
Trojka mczycia, trojka skacze, wiatrak, list potopy. Kalechoczek, sionka, flaczek i hachoczek i senil. Jedu, jedu, jedu w nie, jedu w klubuszkę maje. Jedu, jedu, jedu w nie, jedu w klubuszkę maje.
So let's give a very warm welcome to Dr. Junho Suk.
I am very pleased to have this opportunity to greet you, to welcome you to the United States. We need a new spiritual revolution. We need a new idea. Neither communism nor democracy has the power to usher in a new world. Neither democracy nor communism have the power to overcome nationalism, racism, and barriers of culture and creed. We need a new idea which can integrate the left and the right wings, what we call a headwind worldview or unificationism. What is the essence of unificationism or unification worldview? It is true love. The quality of Soviet young people is exceptionally high. You are very intellectual and discerning, yet very humble and receptive to new ideas. Once we bring a new spiritual revolution to the Soviet Union and this generation of young people will play a leading role in bringing about world peace. With this new vision and new hope for your country and the whole world, may we all become true friends and all work together for world peace. I hope this leadership conference can be one of your greatest experience of your life. We'll do our best throughout the conference to help make it so for you. Once more, welcome you to International Leadership Conference, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Are making our stay here so beautiful that it also seems unreal, and so fantastic that we're really enormously happy while being here. We'll have a seminar and lectures that are very important, and we really are looking forward to this seminar because we very much would like to get acquainted to the Reverend Sunwin Moon's vision of the world, and we're quite prepared for the fact that it will be a lot of work for our grace cells during this conference, and we really are expecting it with, well, we're looking forward for the beginning of those lectures. And once more, we would like to say thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm in charge, in the State Committee of Foreign Relations matters, but I'm really impressed at the level of how guys here organize all the things connected with us staying here. The main idea of this gathering, when we mix up here, it's like a melting pot. That they say that just this is the conference for would-be leaders, and Soviet students here represents all walks of life, all fields and majors of study, efficiency and being flexible. But still, the basis of everything is, as it's said here, love. And I'd like to finish my speech with citing, I don't know the author of these words, but I like them. Strong will is needed, and love is the guide. Thank you.
Умру ли я, но над могилою гори, сияй, моя звезда. Умру ли я, но над могилою гори, сияй, моя звезда.
So this is to the delegation from the Russian Republic, the International Leadership Conference, Philadelphia, Visit 1990. To the professors, students, and staff from the Russian Republic and of the International Leadership Conference. As mayor of Philadelphia, our nation's first city, I am pleased to officially welcome the International Leadership Conference participants from the Russian Republic to our city. We are especially honored to have a group of citizens from the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics visit our historic city, the birthplace of American liberty. May your visit help to create a permanent bond between our peoples and our cultures and a rededication to universal harmony and world peace. I hope that your visit will be rewarding and enjoyable and that you will return in the near future. Signed, sincerely, W. Wilson Good, Mayor of Philadelphia. On behalf of Unification Movement and the City of Philadelphia, I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy your short stay.
Thank you.
Presents for you.
Oh,
Symbol of Moscow.
oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
On behalf of all those present, I'd like to tell you that we heard a lot of nice things about Philadelphia and about people living here. And now we see with our own eyes that it's true. Our dream was to see Philadelphia when sun shines brightly. So our dream has come true.
Is that right?
Thank to you, thank to Philadelphia and to Mayor for this honor of receiving us. Thank you very much.
One more time. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.
1839, a group of people in Boston, that fell, that replaced it. The common folk that we would have been in the backyard of the then State House, now Independence Hall, and there they heard the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence. Of course, the Assembly knew what was in it, but we would not have known.
Create this Constitution, creating a new style of government for the United States, what's he going to become? President, right. First president of the United States under this new style of government. Just off to his left here, the gentleman in the gray coat. A little bit later on, he's going to become the fourth president. That's James Madison.
Вот уже несколько дней советские студенты в Америке. Скажите, пожалуйста, из какого вы института и представьтесь, пожалуйста.
Hi, my name is...
По-русски.
Меня зовут Надя Миронова. Я из Московского института тонкохимической технологии. Нет, меня действительно поразило пребывание в Америке. Здесь какое-то особое чувство свободы. Действительно, это чувствуется первое государство, в котором была подписана Декларация независимости, которая дала начало свободному процветанию старого мира, скажем так. Я думаю, что, в общем, такие обмены студентами очень важны, особенно для нашей страны, поскольку такие вещи, они новые и действительно необходимы.
Меня зовут Оксана Рудюк, я из Московского технологического института легкой промышленности. Пребывание в Америке дало мне массу новых впечатлений, которые я буду помнить, наверное, всю жизнь и рассказывать своим друзьям и, может быть, детям в своем будущем. Очень много разных городов, которые мы увидели, потрясли просто меня. Это все новые впечатления, много новых знакомств, новых друзей. Это очень приятно и очень хорошо. Thank you.
Хорошо. А скажите, пожалуйста, девочки, вы что-нибудь знаете о движении объединения? И какие идеи этого движения вас больше всего привлекают?
Больше всего меня привлекает идея, то, что все люди должны любить друг друга, прощать друг другу всякие, ну, в общем, быть милосердными к ближним своим и, то есть, ну, быть хорошими людьми, то есть, ну,
Может
я
быть,
даже не
помогать
знаю.
друг другу?
Да.
А какие идеи тебя больше всего привлекают в движении объединения?
Ну, видите ли, объединение различных религиозных течений – это действительно очень хорошая идея, поскольку в любом случае человек религиозный должен быть непременно честным, непременно человеком с искрой Божией в душе. И вот какие-то различные течения, они, в общем-то, не оправданы в любом религиозном сердце, то есть какие-то вот столкновения между людьми разных религий, они, в общем, не оправданы, и их надо по возможности пытаться исключать вот из нашей жизни повседневной.
А скажите, пожалуйста, вот распространение движения объединения в нашей стране могло бы как-то решить проблемы, которые сейчас существуют в Советском Союзе?
Я думаю, да, потому что движение Unification делает людей, особенно молодежь, более доброй, учит знакомиться с религией, с Богом, который учит людей быть добрыми, милосердными. По-моему, это очень полезно для советской молодежи и вообще для всей молодежи в мире.
Спасибо, девочки. Вита и Таня, студентки 2-го медицинского института. Девочки, вопрос первый. Как вам удалось приехать в Соединенные Штаты Америки? Я знаю, что был очень жестокий конкурс. Что вы считаете самым главным произошло, то, что вы победили в этом конкурсе и смогли сюда приехать? Смотришь туда.
Ну, во-первых, мне кажется, что отбирала только американская сторона, и то, что сейчас, в общем-то, существуют такие версии во многих институтах, что формировались деканаты или формировал кто-то другой, это не совсем правильно. А по поводу критериев, совсем точно, абсолютно точно, все эти критерии мы так и не знаем, но одним из условий было, конечно, знание языка. Наверное, они еще смотрели, как говорится, на позицию жизни, недаром мы писали свое сочинение, и недаром, в общем-то, те, кто писал сочинение именно там, сразу в аудитории, то есть не было подготовлено. В большинстве своих случаев прошли. И, наверное, все-таки это еще американцы были хорошими физиономистами. Это все. В общем-то, нам, конечно, повезло. Мы считаем, потому что конкурс был довольно большой, и элемент везения, конечно, был.
А что ты думаешь по этому поводу, Аня?
Ну, я, в принципе, согласна с Витой. Здесь основную роль играло, конечно, знание языка. И потом, действительно, отбор проходил со стороны американцев несколько субъективно. То есть они действительно были какими-то физиономистами и подходили с позиции психологического анализа к отбору делегатов.
Стоп, все равно ничего не слышно. Девочки, вы в Америке уже несколько дней. Расскажите о ваших первых впечатлениях, о трудностях, с которыми вы здесь сталкиваетесь. Может быть, это трудности языка, может быть, какие-то другие проблемы. И как ваши американские кураторы помогают вам их здесь решить? В камеру смотрите.
Ну, во-первых, Америка — это еще говорили очень давно. Это страна, которая сделала себя сама, и состоит она из людей, которые сделали себя сами. То есть люди, которые выросли в борьбе с какими-то трудностями, люди, которые стремились добиться какой-то большой цели, они этой цели добились. Они все это делали сами, они шли через трудности, и времена у них были, дай бог, какие тяжелые. И они, тем не менее, все это добились, и через все это прошли, да, построили сейчас то, что они, в общем-то, хотели. Но сами американцы говорят, что Америка – это страна контрастов. В общем-то, и не совсем правильно говорить то, что здесь прям все так замечательно. Здесь тоже есть и нищие, и попрошайки на улицах, и бедные есть, которые ночуют на скамейках. То есть, в принципе, если человек хочет работать, он может этого может добиться до значительных успехов в жизни. Если он не хочет, то он будет нищим. Это все. А кураторы у нас замечательные люди, которые нам улыбаются, которые прекрасно к нам относятся и излучают только доброжелательность. Но мы надеемся, что это их настоящая суть, а не поза и не маска. Пока это все.
А меня поразило в этой стране то, что эта страна очень интернациональная. То есть мы видим на улице совершенно разные национальности, и живут они все очень дружно. И мы не заметили пока никакого негативного отношения ни к кому. Вот. Ну а трудности, конечно, очень большая трудность со временем, с переходом на американское время, потому что оно различается на 8 часов. И когда у нас день, у них ночь. Вот. Ну, конечно, американские кураторы во всем помогают нам, относятся к нам очень доброжелательно. Вот. И пытаются оказать нам всяческую помощь и поддержку и в этом, и вообще показывать нам и страну. В общем, большое им спасибо.
Девочки, а вот такой вопрос. Вы обратили, наверное, внимание, в музеях всегда очень много детей. И вот мы сегодня в музее в Филадельфии, где очень была интересная экскурсия об истории Америки. Как вы считаете, важно это воспитание детей?
Господи, ну конечно, когда дети видят, в общем, люди с детства видят то, что составляет национальную гордость, причем все это рассказывается таким доступным языком, когда вот здесь сидел Вашингтон, а вот здесь сидел Франклин, а вот здесь вот они приняли Декларацию независимости, и вообще все это рассказывается настолько доступно, как будто представляешь, что это действительно происходило здесь, и видишь все это своими глазами, воспитывается национальная гордость. Это прекрасно, и это дает потом свои плоды, конечно, когда они становятся взрослыми.
Наверное, это лучше, чем проходить историю просто по учебникам в классах. Так ведь это?
Да, конечно. Как-то приходишь в этот зал и видишь все это, и стол покрытый зеленым сукном, и те перья, и создается, в общем, та абсолютная обстановка, которая подписывалась, та же Декларация независимости, которая, по сути дела, положила начало американскому государству. Конечно, это совсем по-другому, чем посмотреть даже на картинку в учебнике.
Спасибо вам, девочки, большое. Желаю вам хорошей экскурсии дальше. Уходить в ту сторону, потому что он сейчас наезд делает.
We are from the Soviet television. We would like to ask you some questions. Our first question is, what's your name?
Jack. Jenny. Regina.
Are you from the same school?
Yes.
The same grade?
Yes.
Seventh?
Yes.
I see. What city do you come from?
New York.
Island.
From New York.
New York.
From New York.
Yeah, Long Island.
What do you know? Do you know the Soviet Union?
Yes.
Where do you know about it from?
Social studies.
Classes.
Choir. And TV.
I see. What would you like to say to the Soviet children?
Hi. Hi. How are you? Good luck.
I'll see you sometime.
See them sometime? Do you think you will have a chance to go to the Soviet Union one day?
Yes. I hope so.
Скажи, чтобы они посмотрели в камеру и поприветствовали советских детей.
The journalist wants you to look into the camera and greet the Soviet children.
Hi. Hey, Mr. Gorbachev.
And Mr. Gorbachev?
Hi. I'm Mr. Gorbachev. Hi. 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 Gorbachev. Yo.
No, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's all.
Меня зовут Саша Емельянов. Я уже как-то выступал и давал интервью, и меня сейчас попросили сделать еще это раз после тех впечатлений, которые мы получили за 4 дня. Вы знаете, мое состояние полностью изменилось, радикально изменилось за 4 дня. Сначала было просто волнение, неизвестность какая-то даже замкнутость перед тем, что нас окружает. Но когда мы были на экскурсии в журнале Washington Times и в газете, и в журнале «Мир и я», World and I, я был совершенно, мне тяжело говорить, только английские слова, я хочу только по-английски говорить. Мы были совершенно, как сказать, черт возьми. Мы восхищены, мне подсказывают, мы были совершенно восхищены и потрясены теми встречами, потому что нас слушали очень откровенно, очень правдиво, очень естественно люди, которые намного старше, чем мы. Это было действительно очень интересно. В нашей стране я встречал такое, но мне было бы очень интересно, если бы я встретил такое в нашей стране. Вот. Но сейчас никакого волнения нет. Мы полностью сжились. Я полностью понимаю все, что мне хотят сказать. Не только языком, но и глазами, улыбкой, мимикой лица. Я все понимаю. Вот сегодня мы в Филадельфии, так легко дышится, прекрасное небо над нами. Я как будто не хожу, а летаю. Вы, видимо, сами чувствуете это. Вот. И мы совершенно случайно нашли новых друзей, Here is my new friends. Вот. Они работают в компании American Express. Вот. Они летают на самолетах, они мне помогают.
Federal Express.
О, Federal Express. Federal, mistake. Ошибку сделал небольшую. Federal Express. Федеральный экспресс, да. Нам было очень хорошо вместе. У нас всего 1 час был на прогулке, но мы буквально посетили все, что можно было увидеть в центре. Были в кафетерии, пили кофе, прокатились на такси. Они нам очень помогли. Было прекрасно. Мы разговаривали. Отлично. Совершенно на разные темы.
We would like to say that we're very happy that Russian people are coming to the United States and that Americans are going to Russia and that we are becoming the good friends that I think the people of our two countries have really always been. And the more we know about each other, the closer we will be.
Those are my feelings also, that it's a pleasure to have the Russian visitors here and learning from us, and are visiting Russia to learn from them. It's a new decade in which our societies are becoming closer to one another.
Каждый день здесь, да что там каждый день, каждый час, каждые полчаса приносит нам массу новых впечатлений. И тут нужно заметить, что наше пребывание здесь, экскурсии, и все остальное организовано столь хорошо, что мы просто не имеем ни одной свободной минуты. И я думаю, что наше обучение здесь будет столь же эффективным и полезным для нас, как и все остальное, что мы здесь видим. И это нам послужит хорошим уроком в организации нашего времени в Москве, в организации нашей учебы и свободного времени.
Доброжелательность людей, приветливые лица, улыбки – это поразило и меня, и советских студентов. И мы очень рады, что мы приехали сюда, и надеемся, что это не последняя наша поездка, не последняя поездка студентов. И я думаю, что студенты после окончания вуза будут работать вместе с американцами. Сегодня мы все вместе живем на одной земле и должны все вместе делать мир.
Smiles, good attitude, kindness of the American people surprised her very much indeed. And she thinks that the relations between the Soviet Union and the USA will develop, and the Soviet students and American students in the future will work together and build a new united world.
That's good.
Natasha revealed the ideas which are common. I quite agree with her. Well, I'm a professor of these students, and I'm sure that my students will be able to take the best to understand much here and apply it to their life in the Soviet Union. And I think they will not be afraid to develop the relations with such a country, such a big country which is so far from the Soviet Union as the USA. Until now, you have been very little known to the Soviet people. And so such tours are very important for mutual understanding, I think.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy.
Hello, could I have the receipt, please? Don't be afraid.
It's cold enough that it's not easy to think. It's just like my whole body is shaking and
it's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable, so it's hard to think.
Настолько холодно, что трудно очень думать. Отвлекает внимание вот это ощущение холода.
Because it requires reflection.
This is a nice place.
Отвлекает внимание.
It's very pretty. It's very pretty, but it's kind of
Koji
hard.
can get some shots of us talking here like this, and then maybe we could go inside and one-on-one somewhere.
Oh wow.
It's a kind of sport in Moscow.
A sport.
Yeah.
30 grad, Anton.
It's very it's simple. It's not the Rocky Mountains. Probably not like the hills.
Сегодня мы встретились с руководителями группы движения объединения, и каждый из них расскажет о своем пути вступления в движение объединения.
My name is John Williams. I've been in the unification movement for 16 years, generally as a lecturer of the unification worldview. And right now I'm working, after graduating from the Unification Seminary, I'm working as a minister at a campus at a college in New York. I had had many religious experiences as a child, and I was very much spiritually searching among the many new religions that were in America at the time. I had come to a point of great depression because especially I'd had one relationship with a girl and my best friend, and it had a terrible ending where I had been very resentful and jealous of my best friend over this one girl. And because I was an artist and involved with theater, that was my major in school, also psychology. And because I was an artist and always very concerned about ideals, I often would fall in love with a young lady and then have a very bad experience afterwards. And finally, by the time I was about 18, I had this strong sense that there was no hope that I could ever experience a real, true, loving relationship with a young woman. And I was becoming very depressed. So at the time that I had left college after 1 year. I left college searching for some sort of spiritual or religious insight that would give me some hope. However, I had not found anything. So at that point, I felt so sad and so depressed that there was no hope that I could ever find true love with a woman and a good family. Also, I had lost hope that there could ever be a solution to the terrible problems of the world around me. And not only was I, in my own personal life, very concerned, of course, about love and those matters, but I was very concerned about solving the problems of the world, and that also was troubling me very much. So between those two things, I finally became very depressed, and I had decided that life was not worth living. I had started to drink at that point, and also I was thinking very much about suicide. I didn't literally think of killing myself, but rather I had no longer any strong reason to live. And so I was becoming more and more self-destructive again, with drinking and other things. And I was just very depressed. So at the time that I met the movement, I had left school and I was traveling around America, searching for something that might give me some hope and insight. And I met the movement. At the time that I met the movement, I had already given up hope. When I met the movement, I remember feeling a tremendous sense of hope, and I was struck by the young people particularly, that they were, in the relationships between the men and women, there was something different. I appreciated the fact that the women did not look at me as someone almost like a product to be bought in a store. That I was no longer, I felt that the men and women were like brothers and sisters, and that they had a different quality of love, and they seemed to have a tremendous faithfulness to each other, and I was struck by this. There seemed to be some sort of new ethical way that they were relating to each other, and I felt a lot of hope because of this. And I saw in their families and their marriages and families some sort of different quality which I could believe in would be the basis for my, also I could imitate this and I could maybe have a happy family. Also, I felt in the teaching that there was such a clear understanding about God, whom I really had wanted to understand, but I couldn't, and about human nature, and about the cause of evil and suffering. About Jesus, many things that I had been very curious about, but had never found a clear answer. In these answers, then, I felt a lot of hope. And very quickly, then, I went from a feeling of tremendous despair to feeling a lot of hope. The problem was not solved immediately, of course, because I still would be troubled by sometimes feeling sad and depressed. And it took me several years in the company of also many other members of the movement, as my friends, and also in studying the ideas and applying them to my life. Gradually, I felt like I was able to shake off this feeling of despair and to begin directing my life in a more purposeful way. And of course, the drinking and that whole attraction just vanished. And I also felt I could relate to men and women in a much more healthy way. I felt just in the friendships and so on, I felt it was such a refreshing and educational experience that I decided I really had no desire to go back to college, because I felt I was learning so many valuable things from my life, and I was doing something to help the world. My parents, of course, they had a hard time understanding about what on earth could possibly be so exciting to me that I didn't feel like going back to school. I didn't feel even a desire to pursue some career at that moment that would make money. And so they didn't understand. But I was fortunate that my father and mother respected me, and they respected my judgment. And so very quickly they came to investigate. My father came and attended the unification programs, some of the teachings and so on, and he listened, and he respected my judgment that I was doing something that meant a lot to me, and my mother also. So the two of them, they attended programs. In fact, they both eventually, when they had an opportunity, they heard Reverend Moon speak, and they came to other programs. And my mother and father attended many programs over the years when they were invited. So I never had any difficulty with them. Of course, like any parents, they wished that I was doing something which maybe was more related to material security, something that would make money. But I worked as a volunteer. I decided to work as a volunteer in a full-time involvement. I eventually became a teacher teaching the unification principles to others, and I really loved it. And I've had a very exciting and fulfilling time. And my parents, especially as I became married and have a daughter, my parents became more and more delighted with my choice. So I really haven't had any difficulty with that.
My name is Bob Beebe. I'm a member of the Unification Movement for 13 years, and I'm currently working as a campus minister at Princeton University. I graduated with a degree in economics at Princeton, but it was really there that I began to be exposed to the wider elements of American society, both good and bad. That's a time of, I think, any person's life where you're thinking of what you want to do with your life, what your interests are, and I was searching in many different ways. Actually, when I went to college, I entered as an engineering student and went to several different specialties until I finally decided on economics. Because my desire was I really wanted to do something that would be useful to the world, to really help society, and I felt that through economics we could help to make a better society for everyone. But along with that, during my years there as a student, as I said, I began to be involved with certain activities that, when I look back, were not really so good. I began also to drink. At that time, it's very common for college students in America to be involved with drinking, partying on the weekends, just wanting to have a good time, and also began to be involved in sexual relationships also with women in that time too. So I felt like I was just exploring sort of basically life, and finally when I graduated, I worked in the field of economics for a couple of years. However, my interest began to change, and I began to realize that the problems in American society or the world weren't so much economic problems, but really were spiritual problems, and that the problems lay within each person, that the problem essentially was our own selfishness. And the reason why we couldn't build a better world was because of our own selfish character. So even though as I came to that realization, I continued selfish habits. I was not even I could recognize them in myself, in my drinking habits or relationships with other people, with women. I was not able to overcome them, to change them. I had searched at times also in a religious way. When I was at Princeton, I was engaged with a more fundamentalist Christian group there, and I learned through that a lot about the Bible and various things concerning God, but there were many questions that were, for me, still unanswered, and especially things that the science has discovered about the universe did not square with what fundamentalist Christian teaching was concerning the Bible. And I had many questions about the origin of evil. Why if everyone desires happiness, happiness is so difficult to obtain, and many other questions. Why does God allow evil to exist? And I found finally, 3 years after I graduated, and I was sort of in a process of changing my direction in life, getting out of the field of economics, and actually I was working writing short stories as fictional stories to sort of explore these areas, the questions that I had about life. That's the time when I came into contact with the Unification Movement in Boston. First of all, very impressed by the warmth of the members of the Unification Movement, that there was a real feeling that we were really brothers and sisters, and the sort of the sexual feelings that arise were not really there so much, but there was a real feeling of respect for one another as brother and sister. And I really felt that I could just be myself for the first time. I didn't have to put on any airs, but I could just simply be who I was, and I felt accepted for whom I was. And with that too, in meeting the movement, and then beginning to hear and study the the teaching of the unification movement, the unification principle, it answered the questions that I had about life in a very deep way for me. I began to understand more clearly the origin of evil and the real true nature of God, and the realization for me that God was real, God was alive, and that God loved me, and that God loves everyone. And God's deepest hope is that we could really come into loving relationships with Himself and with one another. And I felt that this was actually being carried out among the members in the unification movement. So with this, I found my desire for, for drinking or drugs that I had been involved with also, and immoral relationships with women, those sort of desires just fell away. And I began to, I found a purpose for my life, and I was inspired, had hope, that for the future, and that it was truly possible to be able to build a different kind of world. And now I've been in the movement for 13 years. That has only been confirmed for me over and over again as I've watched the movement develop, that I see the vision that Reverend Moon had and the vision of the unification principle really becoming reality in all the different aspects of what we're doing. And my parents were very concerned about my joining the unification movement, and they warned me not to do it, but I'm very glad that they never took any steps to prevent me, and ultimately they respected my choice. And although my mother was very upset, she told me later that she cried every day for the first year that I was in the unification movement. Finally, she began to understand, and she was happy as long as I was happy with what I was doing. And now that also I have a wife and 4 children, she and my parents, my brothers and sisters are more and more seeing the fruits of my involvement with this movement.
Мистер Брайан, расскажите, пожалуйста, что вас привело в движение объединения?
I met the unification movement in 1974 while I was studying at the University of Vermont in Burlington, Vermont. And I think the thing that interested me the most in the unification movement was the teaching itself. I was interested in religion. I had attended other programs in other religions and had listened to people's presentations. And I think the unification presentation made the most sense to me. And so I began to study the unification principle, and I spent a great deal of time researching the unification movement before I finally made my decision to join the unification movement and work together with my friends here. I had long hair, very long hair, and I enjoyed drinking beer, like many other college students my age. I didn't do drugs so much at that time. I wasn't so much interested in drugs, and I never smoked. I never smoked cigarettes. But I definitely enjoyed drinking with my friends in college. So since I joined the unification movement, I think the big shock to my friends and the shock to my parents was I seemed to change a lot to my parents and to my friends after I joined the unification movement. And they couldn't understand why all of a sudden I cut my hair, and all of a sudden I decided not to drink anymore, and I decided not to live the wild young life that I used to live. And so for me, the reason why I changed was because I think what I found in the unification movement was a profound experience of the existence of God. And having found this experience about the love of God, the existence of God, my interests in life changed. I simply say I was no longer interested in drinking. I was no longer interested in wild parties, really. So I would say that even though my parents diligently tried to encourage me to believe in God, to attend church, to do more moral, adult-type things, held against my parents' suggestion and